Coming up, in South Florida, we're fishing with electricity to gather vital data on the aquatic species of the Everglades.
Man, look at the size of this guy. He's off the scale.
But first,
Right in here?
the hunt is on for a stealthy invader from the other side of the planet.
You got it?
Got it.
Oh!
An incredibly rare experience, surgery on a nearly 12-foot-long Burmese python.
We can get the perspective of how big she is.
Trailblazing science in action. Next on Wildlife Nation, Expedition Florida. I'm Jeff Corwin. Wildlife Nation is dedicated to conserving the natural wonders of North America. And now we're teaming up with the Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida to safeguard the vibrant wilderness of the Sunshine State. We'll explore this region's diverse landscapes and extraordinary creatures as we work alongside the passionate conservationists dedicated to protecting them. This is Wildlife Nation, Expedition Florida. The Everglades, 1.5 million acres of wetlands on the southern tip of Florida, made up of coastal mangroves, sawgrass marshes, and pine flatwoods. The Everglades are home to hundreds of animal species, but a threat to this native wildlife lies just beneath the water's surface, the invasive Burmese python. And that's just what we're here to find and capture.
All right, we have a really strong signal right here.
Right here.
Right here.
It just goes to show you how hard it is to find these snakes. We're in this vast river of grass, and somewhere directly beneath us is a giant leviathan of a serpent.
Invasive Burmese pythons are almost perfectly adapted for the Everglades, and they've established an immensely successful breeding population. Severe mammal declines have been linked to their arrival. Raccoons, possums, bobcats, and even deer have dropped over 90%. Rabbits and foxes have effectively disappeared.
And she's got to be right underneath all of this hydrilla right here.
We're not just looking for any python. This snake has been previously implanted with 2 VHF tags, so we can hone in on her exact location by the signal she is emitting.
And she's moving.
She's moving?
Here we go. This way over here.
She's not
now.
even moving the vegetation.
Nope.
That
Completely
is-
silent.
That is crazy.
You can't even tell she's moving.
So if it's this hard to catch a python with transmitters on it, how hard is it to catch one that's completely wild?
Wildlife researchers Brandon Welty and Dr. Melissa Miller have been keeping tabs on this particular snake for the last 5 months. This serpent is a part of a long-term study at the University of Florida, coordinated by Dr. Miller, to learn more about these mysterious invaders in an effort to manage their out-of-control and catastrophic spread.
Brendan, right here is good?
That's perfect.
Yep, strong signal.
Melissa, this technology, this has been like standard with wildlife research for many, many decades. But Brandon, there's more than just this classic time-tested technology. I mean, this is like a cyborg Burmese python. This is high-tech serpent. What else is going on?
So she's got an accelerometer in her right now, which tracks movement on a very fine scale. And the batteries on that are about to die, so we have to find her to get that out, get a new one in, and get all of that very important data.
Also, it's going to get some new technology that is totally novel for your study that you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's right. This will be the first snake that's going to get a GPS tag put in it, and that's going to fill in the gaps for what the snake's doing in between when we track her using the tried and true traditional VHF tags.
So first, we need to find that snake.
That's right.
And it's coming from somewhere over there. That's a strong, strong signal there, Melissa.
Yeah, it is very strong. So we're very close.
Is it coming from over here?
Yeah.
There she is. You got her, Melissa?
Melissa, do you got it?
Yep, got it.
Oh, let me go get a bag. Hold on.
Right.
Good job, Melissa. All right. All right, I got the bag.
All right.
All right, we'll go tail first.
Wow, this is a very big snake. Incredible that in the middle of this endless sweep of grass, we found this scaly needle in a haystack.
1, 2, 3.
Got it?
Yep. All right, lock is secure. What's next?
We're gonna get her to Dr. Christopher Smith, the veterinarian. We're gonna replace her accelerometer and give her a brand new GPS unit.
Awesome, let's do it.
Let's
Good job.
do it.
Coming up, we'll rush this massive snake to the veterinary clinic, where we'll be a part of pioneering science. Surgery on a nearly 12-foot-long Burmese python. Next on Wildlife Nation, Expedition Florida. We're back in South Florida, where we've just caught an invasive Burmese python, a snake that's part of an incredible invasive species research program coordinated by Dr. Melissa Miller at the University of Florida.
Okay, Brendan, right here, this work?
This works.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Good, nice to see you.
Good, guys. This is Chris Smith. He's a veterinarian at the Willoughby Veterinary Hospital. They treat all sorts of patients here, but they're a big part of this mission to save the Everglades from these invasive species.
Today, Dr. Smith will be updating this python's tracking implants.
Okay.
First, he needs a rough estimate of the python's weight so he knows how much initial sedative to administer.
29.2 kilos.
And then we'll need to get control of this huge snake.
So we can hear hissing in there. And she is not happy.
No, she's not.
Pythons, they're not venomous, but they are powerful. They could be dangerous. And as I have learned, they can bite through bags sometimes.
There you can. There's her head right there.
Right there.
Yeah, if you get a grip on it, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
You got a good grip on it?
I got a good grip.
All right. Just
Big
work her out of the bag.
snake. That's a big, big snake.
Get the injection in the front half of the animal.
Yep. All right, so that's both a combination of sedative, of anesthesia, and of a little pain management.
Pain medicine, yeah.
The python goes back into the bag
1, 2, 3.
and then into a sealed chamber where for over an hour she receives anesthesia and oxygen.
She should behave a little bit better than she did last time. And just make sure you're supporting her weight and that she doesn't flop down.
What's really neat is we can get the perspective of how awesome she is, how big she is. This, fortunately or unfortunately, is a very healthy snake, which means it's been eating a lot of,
Native animals.
yeah. Why is this long-term study so important, Brandon?
The hope is at the end of this long-term study is we can look at all the data that we've collected and get a better idea of how these snakes are using the environment. And then we can transition that into management of this invasive species to reduce some of those effects on our native species.
Snakes aren't the bad guy. They're just being pythons. They're just surviving in a brand new world of opportunity.
Yeah, I got into this work because I love reptiles, I love snakes, and they deserve our respect too.
Dr. Smith places a heart monitor on the snake and prepares to insert a breathing tube.
So this is cool to look inside the mouth of a python, which you rarely get to see. You can see the row of teeth.
They're also all pointed backwards so that if she grabs something, it's hard for it to pull out and remove. This is going into her trachea. So she can breathe.
feel it.
And then it's go time for surgery.
So we've got the old accelerometer here. So with snake skin, unlike mammal skin, you don't want to just make long incision and cut through the scales. It takes them a longer time to heal that way. So I'm actually going in a zigzag pattern.
Around the scales.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Dr. Smith removes the old accelerometer and prepares a new one to put in its place.
You can tell the difference between a new sterile one and one that's been in the animal for 6 months.
Wow. And this is made specifically for snakes.
It is.
What I'm doing is I'm anchoring the suture around a rib.
Oh, wow. It anchors in place. That's pretty cool.
So this is the GPS unit, but this is the antenna. And the antenna needs access to the sky to pick up to the satellites. So this will be hanging out.
Wow, because the GPS transmitter is usually on the outside, is external. It can get rubbed off on a rock or the environment. This way, the unit is implanted, but the antenna is on the outside.
If we can get this orientation, based off of your conversations with the engineers, this looks like it'll be pretty good?
Yeah.
As close to midline as possible?
Yeah.
Dr. Smith implants the GPS transmitter, and then the incision is closed.
That looks
That's
awesome.
cool. That looks great.
That looks awesome. Placement is amazing. Doesn't get much better than that. And now I'm just excited to see how it works.
We're gonna wake her up, and back to the Everglades she goes.
Coming up, a return to the wild for this python and the first ever test of her new state-of-the-art GPS implant.
That's incredible.
And then back into the boat to discover the connection between aquatic wildlife and the vibrant traditions of the Miccosukee tribe. Coming up next on Wildlife Nation, Expedition Florida. We're transporting a nearly 12-foot-long invasive Burmese python back into the Everglades. She has just undergone surgery to receive 2 new high-tech tracking implants. Wildlife biologist Brandon Welty and I have reunited with Dr. Melissa Miller, the lead researcher on this groundbreaking project, so she can oversee this serpent's release.
This is the spot, I think, where we
This is the
caught
spot
her, right
Yeah,
here.
this is the spot where we caught her. Box her off.
All right.
2 bags.
Brandon, knowing the impact that these snakes have had on this ecosystem, is it kind of bittersweet to put her back?
It's counterintuitive, but the more we learn about the snakes, the better we can manage this invasive population. So this will actually be the first time we've tested this GPS unit in the field on one of our pythons.
I mean, that's pretty cool, Melissa. This is a totally new component to this very important project.
Right, because normally when we track, you only get a point when you go out and track, but this is going to be giving us points those in between times when we're not out here, so it'll fill in those gaps in movement.
And it's connected. It's
Amazing.
working.
Good.
That's incredible. All right, what's next?
Let's get her out of the bag.
All right, let's do it. Brandon, she does not look worse for wear.
She does not. She looks very healthy.
The Everglades, along with a lot of wild Florida, while it gives us so much hope and there's a resiliency, it's under a lot of pressure. How important is it that we figure this problem out? What does it mean to the Everglades if we don't solve the problem of invasive pythons?
Well, all of our native wildlife are counting on us, and the world's watching, especially with this problem with Burmese pythons.
So the work that all of these folks are doing, this community coming together, it's all about ensuring that our children have a vibrant, beautiful Everglades to celebrate.
Still to come, we'll use incredible technology to find out what's living in the waters beneath one of the most biologically diverse wetlands in North America. Electrofishing in the Everglades, next on Wildlife Nation, Expedition Florida.
Craig, were you thinking over there?
Yeah, we'll
All
go
right.
to the left.
So my friends, the Everglades is one of the most diverse ecosystems in North America when it comes to fish species. But how do we find what species of fish are swimming beneath us? Well, with electricity, of course. So how's this gonna work? We have electricity, which we're generating from this generator. Then, ingeniously, we're gonna run electricity through these aquatic electrodes. They dangle in the water and they temporarily stun the fish, which we put in this tank and identify them. Should we do this?
Yep, let's shock them.
It's a big gator behind you. He may get a shock.
We fire up the generator, electrifying the water, and start netting stunned fish. Helping us today is my friend Dion Burt, part of the Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida Fish and Wildlife team. Our mission is to catch a variety of Florida fish species, but especially two culturally important species for the Miccosukee, garfish and the bowfin. The data we'll collect about the fish inhabiting these waters will be critical for a long-term study on the Everglades ecosystem managed by the Miccosukee tribe. And of course, the challenge of catching these fish? A ton of fun. Our catch is a huge success. Among the dozens of fish we've captured are a largemouth bass,
This is an important recreational species.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it brings a lot of income to Florida.
a native sunfish,
Probably 22.
Yeah, 22.
what I call a crappie, the locals call a speck.
I would be happy all day catching this.
Oh, absolutely.
Seeing this at the end of my bobber. 28.
An invasive Asian swamp eel,
This one species, it is having a devastating impact on this ecosystem.
Oh, it sure is. In one area of Everglades National Park, it removed about 90% of the biomass of the crayfish species, and between 80 to 90% of the top minnows. So it's a voracious predator.
and finally, one of the most important species we're searching for today, a mighty Florida gar.
Man, look at the size of this gar. So this gar, he's off the scale. He's 60 plus. Gar are such an incredible species of fish. This is a creature that goes back 200 million years.
Incredible. And so this one we're going to keep.
Okay. The gar, for the Miccosukee people, very important species, isn't it?
Yes, Jeff, they're important to us because they represent resilience and strength because of their tough skin. We depend on them and also the bowfin.
Not only back in the past, historically, but today, Craig, a lot of Miccosukee eat these gar,
They do.
which is good to know that they're here, but in itself presents a challenge, doesn't it?
It does. A lot of the fish here have very high mercury contents, and so we created an aquaculture facility so we can grow bowfin and gar for the consumption of the Miccosukee people. Today we caught a bunch of fish that we're going to put into our brood stock as well for breeding the fish.
We've had an amazing adventure conducting our inventory of fish of the Everglades. But there's one more adventure ahead. We'll take our bowfin and garfish catch back to the Miccosukee Fish and Wildlife Aquatics Lab. Coming up next. We're back with the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida Fish and Wildlife team. We've just caught several gar and bowfin as a part of the tribe's fisheries conservation program. Now, we need to get our catch to the Miccosukee Aquatic Center, located just beyond the northwest tip of the Everglades.
Hector, where do you want me to go, man?
Right there.
Right here?
Yes.
So, this looks cool, Hector. What is this place?
This is our aquatics lab. And what we're trying to do is metabolize chemicals out of these fish, such as mercury.
So by putting them here, over time, any heavy metals, any chemicals that they've gotten from the environment, like mercury, works their way out of their system, out of the tissue like muscle or especially fat tissue.
Air pollution, deposited into the ecosystem through rainfall, is the main source of mercury in the Everglades. This toxin, as well as other contaminants, accumulate in the body of fish, crayfish, and other aquatic wildlife that eat algae and smaller fish that have absorbed it directly from the polluted water.
How does protecting crayfish and snails contribute to protecting this whole environment in the Everglades?
These animals are actually very important for the food chain. It's not just about the deer or panther or bears. These creatures, from the fish to the snails to the crawfish, these are the essential building blocks for this ecosystem out here in the Everglades.
All right, I got a gar.
What we're going to do is put the garfish in here.
Another gar. And then a little gar.
Little gar.
And somewhere in here is the bowfin. There we go. Here's our bowfin. You want the bowfin where?
In here, Jeff.
So these fish are not only important to the environment, but they're important to the Miccosukee community.
Yes, sir. It's a source of food for our people, and it's essential to my culture. We get our designs from the fish, from their patterns, if you've seen them. It's actually where we get inspiration for our beadwork and our clothing. We say it symbolically, they're as tough to skin as the tribe itself. It's the beauty of the fish, the ruggedness, and the durability. That fish is a part of us. For us, the Creator gave us that fish to live off to learn from. And it symbolizes the durability of the tribe.
It's tough to be a Gar,
Yes,
but they're survivors.
yes,
And historically, life can be tough in a culture, but the Miccosukee are survivors.
yes,
So by protecting these incredible fish, you're protecting the legacy of the people of today, and equally important to that, it's a resource that is the glue that binds this whole ecosystem together.
yes.
Like the ancient Gar and bowfin, this community is resilient. But that's not all. The tribal community are stewards of this ecosystem, guardians of this vital food resource, protectors of their vibrant culture and their homeland. The incredible Everglades, the irreplaceable river of grass.